Welcome to the Chaos and Caffeine podcast. This would be podcast number 15. I'm now back from Croatia. We had a lot of fun there. And some of the first thing that happened was, I think I talked about it a little bit last week, but basically we get back, we get stuck in traffic on the way home, and pull into the garage and just smell coolant like crazy from the truck. Now, the truck was complex, used a lot of AI, I guess you could call it, in the radio. It was called a Type 3 radio. Little things would happen. I was very annoyed by that part where I'd pull into a gas station and, discover I was locked out of the vehicle for 30 minutes while it's doing an update, or randomly when being guided by the connected cloud-based Google Maps that were built into the vehicle, because it's an Android, of course, that literally the truck was a car phone. So pulling in towards a customer site, have never been there before, and the maps would decide that was the time that the entire system would no longer be able to support the maps application. And on and on and on and on. And then, of course, there was all the fun with a turbo 3.0 diesel. While the mileage was great, So I think I talked about a lot about that last week. So this week it carried on. But, the new vehicle, phenomenal. They corrected a lot of the issues. New features in the thing. I'm going to reserve my comments until the road trip that's coming up in the near future to do some field bearing fixes. So and that's a story in itself. So towards the end of the week, I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about in the podcast this week? Because we're setting up an interview that I hope to do next week or the week after with an associate from within the industry. That'll be quite interesting, because something completely different. I'll be his first interview on this topic and his new book. But in any case, I thought, because of the stuff we were doing this week, and all of it seemed to be going in fixing I'll keep the expletives down a little bit, investor-owned AI companies. So I said, I can have just as much fun talking about fake crap as I can with by drinking pumpkin spice latte. So this week we're gonna start off the coffee thing with testing the difference between a Dunkin Donuts, because I'm finally gonna do the commercial crap, a Dunkin Donuts pumpkin spice latte, large. And I wanted to see if it would compare to the exact same order in Starbucks, which we have here. I don't have a picture of making it because I didn't make it. I will say that pulling up to the Dunkin' Donuts, I made sure I got there. This is a really early one today. I arrived at each one right around 6 o'clock. So the first one, Dunkin' Donuts, I hit near our place at about 6 o'clock. There were a couple of cars there, as there were at Starbucks. And I said, okay, I wonder how long it's going to take them, because they primarily do a machine thing. It was a little bit more than that. I did whole milk in this as well, just so I could do a direct comparison. I didn't do anything else more foofy than hot freaking pumpkin spice latte, because there's every joke associated with pumpkin spice latte. So sprinkle a little bit of pumpkin spice on it and, call it good. So the other thing I did was last night sit down and I used ChatGPT, and I used the agentic mode and a new mode that's in the phone version. And I went ahead and told it, go into the internet and find user opinions and industry opinions of all the new modern IIoT, AI-driven tools. And I said, I want you to come back, give me a study, and it did. and didn't surprise me at all. And I said, now I want you also to come back and give me some sarcastic humor associated with end user experiences and opinions. So whenever it would try to go off, because it seems to be the only ones talking about this stuff are the people that are trying to sell the stuff. So the end user comments, not so kind, and amazingly not, discovered that sometimes those comments go up and then they're forced to come down. So here was one introducing the smart wrench. It doesn't tighten bolts, but it posts about it on LinkedIn. Then I told it to come back and give me some pumpkin spice latte approaches to that. If startup hype were a drink, it would be pumpkin spice latte. Lots of sugar and spice, not so much substance, but everyone wants a taste. Okay, so we're going to read some of these in the next part. I will discuss why as soon as I try the coffee. Let's just say I had a particular experience yesterday on a project we've been involved in for a while. And if you've read some of the articles having to do with sensor placement on wireless sensors, some of the pictures taken were of this particular location because let's just say pharmaceuticals, making critical pharmaceuticals for people that need it. When you have a false positive rate that's astronomically high, so you're wasting time and money repairing good equipment, while false negatives are also astronomically high, meaning that all of it seemed to happen right before the end of batches, so they would lose entire batches. So they replaced it with yet another company, and they oversaw and made sure the sensors were placed right. But oh wow. I'll tell this story after we try this. So you have to watch me drink pumpkin spice latte. I've always found the machine-made Dunkin Donuts stuff a little powdery or thick. So don't know this year. Again, like I said, whole milk. I watched them make it from I did the drive-through bit. Took them 2 minutes. The other one, I had one of these the other day just to try it out before I did this, so I'd know whether I'd get sick on camera or not. Didn't. So this one, I arrived at, and there was nobody ahead of me. I was first in line. There were no other cars pulling in behind me right away, and there were 2 or 3 people in the restaurant. It took them 10 minutes to make this. So when I left there, it was 6:27 a.m., and I arrived there ahead of time, just down the street from each other. This one was, they don't have a sticker on it, but I had looked at the time. It was 6:05 when I left. I arrived at 6:03. This one here, I arrived at 6:15. I left at 6:17, or 6:27, I'm sorry. So a lot longer. I watched this ballet of baristas dancing around each other, mixing all kinds of drinks, and I don't know who they were for because there were not that many people there, unless they were walking. But I did not see a lot of people in there. I just saw a flurry of activity, which from an industrial engineering standpoint, the Dunkin' Donuts one, the guy went up, ... There were cars pulling in behind me, so I knew there were other orders. He took care of mine first, then did the next one. That seemed to be a lot faster for me. The other one, it looks like they were trying to do everybody's order concurrently. I don't know how this turned out because the guy who mixed this one, I watched do 6 other drinks, and there were 3 baristas that touched this cup, or the stuff that is in this cup. It sat under the steamer for a couple of minutes at least, that kind of thing. So maybe the extra attention did something. We'll see. So let's start out with the goop. I call it the goop because I remember when they'd have the machines with the powder mix in it, and you would put it under there and you'd get this thick, just like I mean, you almost needed a spoon to eat it. So let's see how it comes out as a drink standpoint. Frothy. Now, I did not ask them to put any whipped cream or anything on there, so I don't see any. I did see them sprinkle a little cinnamon or pumpkin spice in there, so let's see. Maybe things floated to the top or something. Let me try one more. Okay, so I think whatever they sprinkled on top got me first because I went, wow, that tastes like chemicals. So kind of industrial. Not too bad. I mean, I'm going to drink it. So we'll come back to that after. I'll go. Let's see which one I'm going to drink first. I'm going to drink the one that's the worst first, so then I can wash it out of my mouth. Just to put it in perspective, $8, including a tip. I'm sorry, $7 plus tip, so that came out to $10, and then I paid the same amount for this one, so same price. Should wash it down with a day-old coffee or something. I'm not going to count the first swig. No chemical-y taste. A lot more subtle, more latte, less pumpkin spice. So actually, that's the second one I'm going to drink. So technically, because I'm not a pumpkin spice fan, I would give both these a thumbs down. The other reason I had this the other day is because I wanted to see what would happen to my blood sugar before and after. I am, after we do this thing, I am going to be taking a good 2-mile walk. Because my blood sugar went really, really, really high when I had this. So if you have any issues, make sure that you do things, and you want one of these, and make sure you either get a flavored straight coffee or just a flavored coffee and put milk in it or something like that, because these will cause a spike. So what happened yesterday? I got some data from a location using the Empower, which is our current signature analyzer. A pharmaceutical company, Dire Straits, their brand new wireless vibration company, who replaced the vibration company that was just god awful. I mean, it was horrible. It caught things that didn't exist. It missed everything that did exist. We'll just say we literally are trying to convince management there that condition-based maintenance is still valid, that these companies that are all these startups and stuff like that, even some of the big names that get a lot of money and start throwing it around, what they're doing is, well, I've got some jokes, but basically you're talking about everybody I meet from these places, including their behind-the-scenes folks, are MBA this, marketing that. I'm trying to find engineers and technicians, cannot find those. Find out that all of the programming is done in India or the Philippines, primarily India, by the same groups. There's just absolute shit. We'll just put it that way. So that one was absolute shit. So they threw them out. They bring in another company because I'm, of course, a little passionate about this. And the reason why is because we spend more time trying to, prior to 2020, I spent, the 35 years I'd been in business by that point. I'm now going on 41 years. along with everybody else, I was the young kid. In some cases I still am, in standard stuff and everything else. But coming up, it was all about doing right for the end user. As I moved through academia, meaning I was an academic at one point, I've been a winder, a machinist, a mechanic, a field service guy, a vibration analyst, an infrared analyst, a ultrasound dude, all the stuff. I've done it. All about the end user. So going into standards meeting, it's all about the end user. We would stand between us and the OEMs type thing, and that there was a number of us that are like that. Okay, some people in the industry as well. So I'll refer to those companies as the traditional companies: Baker, PDMA, Alltest, Empath. On my side of the industry, and then you got the CSIs, and then you've got the ones who are new to the industry but mean really well, the RDIs, and so on and so on and so on. So, and I'm sure I left a whole bunch out, so don't take offense if I didn't mention you. I'm just mentioning the ones that I've worked with. And then, going back, NTech IRD. I mean, hell, we were using some of the stuff that was developed. Hell, I went to the repair shop that I used to work for, and they still have the IRD 880 that I worked with there. And I found out from my ship they're still using the balancing equipment that I had when we commissioned the ship in 1986. So it's there's the base stuff, and the knowledge and the understanding and all that other stuff. And I understand there's been a switch over, and then now there's new tech and flashy toys. So new tech and flashy toys start out because there's this dumbass article out there saying, oh yeah, the sensor industry is going to hit $55 billion by 2032 from 33 million. People don't understand the fact that we've spent all this time trying to convince management and companies that the expense of reliability and maintenance is worth it. Then we have this shit. So, let me tell you how I feel, basically. So you're going to see a lot of stuff coming up. And just to put it in perspective, I must be hitting a chord because we have had a lot of money from these companies thrown against us. We've had some unbelievably unethical bullshit occur towards myself personally and others surrounding us. Okay, it's time for me to have fun. So we get called. Take a look at this data. Now, we'd been in there, we did reports and everything, and somebody within the company, I know exactly who, because he literally told me, oh, we want you to give us some of your equipment for free. And then I get a call from somebody else saying, just so you're aware, he wants to reverse engineer it so we don't have to pay you anything because he thinks you're a tiny little company and we can just fuck you over. Okay, glad to know. So, this is what we deal with as a self-invested company. They're scared to death of the big ones because they have lots of money, but he doesn't realize the companies that are behind us. So I'm fine. No problem. We move forward. So he shares the information apparently with this new company that comes in. They go in and they call a huge alarm. They've got 20 some millimeters per second, one time and two time. Two time is about 18 millimeters per second. It's a belted application, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they call up because they tell them to shut it down now. They're in the middle of a batch. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars lost for one thing. Plus, it's critical medical stuff that has to get out there. So they send me the data, and they send the data from the Empower data they took. And I look at the Empower data, and I said, okay, a slight misalignment, some belt issues. Turns out they were not replacing matching belts. And you've got a lubrication issue in the bearings. Basically, you have heightened watts losses in the ball and cage and the bearings. And we know from our types of measurements, and I don't care what you say, guys, this is our research. We actually do research, so opinion doesn't matter. Lubrication is usually what it is. Inner and outer race signatures with heightened watts losses. And I say this because we are the only ones doing this. Hence the research, because we discovered by looking at watts losses, we can detect things much earlier. So we go in and we say, okay, you've got a lubrication issue. So then they send me the actual vibration data and their report. The report says catastrophic failure imminent, and I told you what the values. It's this value, and I'm looking at it going, oh my God, the mills are like huge. And I said, was the whole floor shaking? They go, no, it was running smooth as anything. And I said, yeah, you're at about 0.02 inches per second according to our data. Well, they said, well, yeah, but I said, yeah, this one here, it's actually going to be moving the building. They basically, and then to top it off, they said that interprets, and they sent the entire spectrum, including any cursors that would be associated with bearings, and they didn't catch anything. They didn't catch anything at all. They did have, because it's on a VFD that's unfiltered, they had twice line frequency, and some other stuff there, and we definitely saw that. And I said, yeah, you're going to have to correct and filter this just like we recommended before. Here's how you fix the problem, that kind of thing. No, they didn't say that. They don't care about that. They just say, and then they go, oh, and bearings and fluting. And well, because our prior reports and a majority of the problems we found there when bearings were detected was bearings and fluting, they called it. And there is no signature in any of their data on any component that shows anything remotely resembling bearings and fluting. So they lied. I can't put it any gentler. They freaking lied. And they asked me what my opinion was. I said, 99% you're going to make it through the thing, no problem. And I said, I have to always leave that 1%. But pretty much, don't shut down the machine. Run through. Lubricate the bearing after you finish your batch up. You should be fine. Double check just to make sure it's not damaged, because sometimes, in some cases, it is actually damage. But I said, you're not seeing what they're saying. So that is par for the course, because that's not the only one we dealt with this week. We dealt with several, as well as elsewhere. Plus, while I was in Croatia, the emails I was handling were very, very similar. So, rant about a veteran maintenance engineers with 30 years of motor knowledge were replaced by data scientists who can't spell torque. Yeah. So I asked it to come back with some jokes. So let me go down to where I said summarize them all. If your system complains more than a toddler on a road trip, maybe it's not ready for prime time. Nothing builds trust like a safety system you bypass with electrical tape because it cries wolf all day. So basically the solution to bad AI is better AI. What could go wrong? Oh, my. That was cute. It's like your smoke alarm going off whenever you toast bread. Eventually you just pull the batteries right before real fire. Yeah, that's true enough. I run into that. Don't put a $2 sensor in a $2 million motor and expect Zen-like reliability. That's actually a comment. That wasn't a joke. Oh yeah. And by the way, if you get a chance, do me a favor. Whether this is in LinkedIn or on YouTube, and by the way, like and subscribe. I promise I'm not going to be ranting as much. It just, this kind of hit a chord yesterday. I was going to make this a little lighter and more fun, but how? And by the way, all these jokes are written by AI. We tried an AI tool for predictive maintenance. It predicted we'd be impressed. That was its first failure. The AI-powered app is basically Clippy with a wrench. It suggests fixes we learned in Maintenance 101. I don't know. That's not that great. Our AI alerted a bearing failure on a machine with no bearings. It's got quite the imagination. That I've actually run into multiple times. These AI systems that try to do classification will call out stuff that simply doesn't exist. Around here, AI stands for alarm inflation. It's great at detecting problems that aren't even there. The digital twin insisted everything was fine right up until the motor self-destructed. Maybe it needs a second digital opinion. We can't. Now, this is a true story. As a matter of fact, when they talk about AI wiping out the human race, they say solve the human race's problems. So how do you solve that? You get rid of the human race. We gave our AI our maintenance logs. The big idea was to shut off everything to avoid failures. Hard to argue. Our predictive AI strategy: predict a failure every day until one happens, then take a victory lap. Okay, let's see. Yeah, these are less funny and more real. Yeah, got a 3 a.m. alert, critical anomaly detected, just the janitor's cart tripping the sensor again. Let's see, IoT gadget marketing hype. This startup sensor pitch has more buzzwords than features. AI-driven, blockchain-enabled, NFT-ready, yet it can't tell a pump from a fan. They demoed their gadget on a dust fan and called it a revolution. Can't wait to see it disrupt our 2,000 horsepower compressor. Oh, yeah, here we go. Startup motto: no expertise needed. Our gadget does it all. Translation: we have no industry experience. Good luck. I tell you, that describes probably 99% of these new companies that are in the reliability and maintenance space. And again, that's what bothers me is now we have to go and reconvince everybody that reliability and maintenance is real, and it's these companies that are throwing millions upon tens of millions at marketing, where their entire staff is marketing people. It is not real CBM. It isn't. It's dressed up stuff. Their IIoT device promises to cut down downtime by 110%. I'm no mathematician, but something's misaligned there, and that's true. I've noticed numbers like that one. My favorite is the companies that are running around and claiming to have invented things that already existed, like energy and emissions measurements as KPI. If you want proof, you can go to the Department of Energy, the stuff I helped write back in the early 1990s. That's where my work comes from. We went out there and had developed materials on the fact that maintenance had the greater impact on energy and emissions. That's actually the whole thing that I did in 97 through 99 before most of these idiots were born at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And that was because of the work that the team had done. And we're talking about OEMs and everybody else. None of this crap is new. It is turds dressed up in fancy spiced latte and put out there. Our new owners replaced half the maintenance team with an interactive dashboard. Oddly, graphing a leak doesn't stop it. Investor strategy: cut maintenance until something breaks, then call it unexpected failure. Brilliant. I tell you, that hits the nail on the head right there. We went from RCM, Reliability Center Maintenance, to PPT, Pretty PowerPoint Talks. Surprise, the machines aren't any more reliable. Oh, my. They let our vibration guru go for fancy analytics dashboard. Now it just emails problems while we miss Bob actually fixing things. Management. We have analytics now, so cut the spare parts inventory. Us enjoying the new game called Wait for Parts. Yeah, analyst? Nah. Who needs a vibration analyst when you have a dashboard that tells you everything after the fact? Investors call that innovation. Now that is actually it's another one that hits a nail on the head. The one that we've run into is a majority of these things, and I see it on LinkedIn and in newsletters all the time because I keep getting inundated with newsletters I never asked for, and these things come in. And they'll have a catastrophic failure, like bearings in pieces or shafts moving around or all kinds of other crazy stuff. And they'll look at we just caught. And it's like, yeah, so did the people down the street. I mean, come on. You're not doing condition-based anything. You're doing reactive maintenance by putting in a dummy light, just like the old dummy lights. I've got this... the amount of electronics they put in cars. I want comfortable seats, nice comfortable drive, good radio. I don't need all the other wild shit they're putting into these dashboards these days in your vehicle. I miss the freaking dummy light that would go off. The oil light would come on after your car stopped. We're right back to that, but we're paying millions for it. We're taking budget away from getting things done, from proper condition-based maintenance, even continuous monitoring. There's plenty. If you want wireless systems, if you want wired systems, there's a lot of legitimate companies out there. And chances are they're not the ones spending tens of millions of dollars trying to convince you through radio ads. I mean, hell, I turned on the radio, business radio, and first time in my life I've heard, CMMS ads and wireless vibration ads. If they're having to do that, they're not getting good responses from the actual users. So let's do the pumpkin spice latte craze and IoT hype. This startup gadget is the pumpkin spice latte of maintenance. Trendy, overhyped, and mostly foam. I like these. These are good. Special AI, seasonal AI flavor. They added pumpkin spice AI to their pitch. And by the way, this stuff is god-awful. Ugh. I don't even think I'm going to give a Sasquatch thumbs down on this stuff because, didn't deserve it. This is like the vibration program that I was asked to, the data I was asked to look at yesterday. Looks cute, tastes shitty. Seasonal AI flavor. They add pumpkin spice to their AI pitch. Nothing says innovation like sprinkling seasonal flavor on old tech. Pumpkin spice predictive maintenance. Everyone's excited this fall, and it'll be forgotten by winter. Sweet aroma. Their sensors hype smells like pumpkin spice. Sweet marketing aroma, but it's just the same old brew underneath. Not really. It is chemically... Man, this is the stuff they're warning about, right? I mean, I went to Europe, and one of the things I noted, because I keep track of my blood sugar right now because of the fact that I don't move around as much as I did when I was lifting and stuff like that all the time. And all I know is when I went to Europe, within 24 hours, without any change in my diet, I suddenly had to start taking in sugar because my blood sugar dropped so much. Limited edition. I joked about pumpkin spice sensors. Their marketing team took notes. I think I created a monster. Oh, God. Okay, so comments. Yeah, I noticed that. So I have fun once in a while, and I will post some ridiculous stuff, and those who are in the know that I'm being sarcastic or tongue-in-cheek, and I watch because there's several of these AI companies that are out there that I will suddenly see them put entire marketing programs together around something I said. The reason, they have to follow somebody. They have no ideas of their own. Festive feel, pumpkin spice maintenance, a seasonal buzz that doesn't fix anything but sure makes management feel festive. Our reliability plan now includes pumpkin spice lubrication. Our bearings smell great while failing at the same old rate. Just add spice. Startup playbook. Take old tech, add pumpkin spice branding, call it revolutionary. Who needs actual innovation? Hallelujah. Oh my God. All spice, no substance. If startup hype were a drink, it would be pumpkin spice latte. Lots of sugar and spice, no, not much substance, but everyone wants a taste. Whipped cream upgrade. We've got so much pumpkin spice IIoT hype, our maintenance plan comes with whipped cream and a cinnamon stick. Okay, so those are the fun bits. Now, I didn't really mean to bitch so much on this one, but wow. I think that one I got hit with last night where I'm going, it's like this one group I went out to help somebody out, and the first thing I did is call the guy and said, get these idiots out of here. Get these electricians out of here. Why? By the end of the week, somebody will die. They have no qualifications to do this shit. Well, it's the same thing. I'm going out and I'm watching this stuff get installed or slapped around. I mean, hell, marketing hype. I sat in presentations by some of these companies where they're all excited about their real installs. And they're showing people take their magnetic wireless system and plop it on bearing, I want to say end shields because that's where you want to put it, on fan covers, on other parts. And then there's even like the video we have out there, and it's a real video. Certain people are trying to say it was mocked up because they want to get their share of the marketing money. But there was the one with the freaking sensor mounted on a rotating shaft. And they, no, it was set up and fake. No, it wasn't. I talked to the guy who did the video. Matter of fact, you can even see the cover on the gearbox is removed. I mean, that was the most ridiculous. I thought it was the most ridiculous one I'd ever seen until I saw in the Vibration Institute, of all places, an ad where the sensor company had a sensor mounted on the chuck of a lathe. I mean, if you want to talk about people who have no concept about where their technology is being put, start paying attention to what they're showing you. They saw another one, and I know the guy meant well, but they were trying to show how easy it was for anybody to do it. So they had the company lawyer installing the sensor. Well, actually, it was the adhesive company lawyer installing a wireless vibration sensor on a motor. So he goes in there, and there's no filler. There's nothing actually connecting anything. And he's allowed to do it by himself. And he mounts the damn sensor, not in the load zone at all, but not only that, next to the connection box in the middle of the motor. And then I mentioned something about it, and everybody attacks me that, oh no, that's the place you mount the things. Are you guys idiots? Yes, you are. I mean, seriously. And the reason I say that is because the industry needs condition-based maintenance in order to be competitive. These people coming in because they want to be bought out of their companies to move on or sell whatever shares or whatever else, and you see round whatever, I'm sorry, I can't take them seriously. I cannot take them seriously. And apparently my opinion has me attacked by these freaking nobodies constantly. So, don't care. We're doing well. We're writing the standards you're going to have to follow. Because nobody in these companies has the competence to do it. Instead, they're running to other organizations and they're writing up recommended methods to sell their marketing stuff. I'm sorry. I don't see them at IEEE. I don't see them at IAC. I don't see them at CGRE. I don't see them at ASME. I don't see them in the locations that are going to matter. I don't even see them in ISO. And that should be the easiest. So, this did turn into a rant, didn't it? It's frustration. We've got a younger generation coming in, and companies some of them are fueling the AI mistake by using AI so that they have an excuse to break federal law by firing employees with over 50 years. We're seeing that a lot. And regardless of what's on the news, we're seeing, the reliability and maintenance industry taking a hit, skilled trades taking a hit, because these AI people are running around telling people that they can have an AI apparently replace bearings or lubricate motors or any of the other things that require nuanced approaches. And to top it off, it's marketing driven because even a data scientist would know that in order to classify things, in order to do something outside of anomaly detection, you require vast amounts of data that are properly labeled, that literally do not exist in the industry at all. And then in some industries, I keep seeing the people going on about SCADA data and stuff like that. And every time I find out that and all these people are doing the same thing, they're using modeled data. Basically, they create something in whatever program, whether it's MATLAB or whatever else. That's the training data. It's too logical. There's no real life noise in it. And then when they do want to try to do something, they go back to the old data sets like the NASA jet engine data set, and for images, the petals data set for classification. These data sets that were put together with government money. There's one on machine tool learning that it's meant for students to learn, not for training actual usable machine learning. And all the hype out there is AI this and AI that, which is needed in order to get your shares up or to get an investor. There is not a single AI on the market. You've heard that, right? As a data scientist, I will state there is not a single AI on the market. Not even the LLM chatbots. Now, there's some great tools that come out of all of this. But when you overhype things, and I think I'm now starting to see more articles on the AI bubble. So we are battening the hatches for what's coming. We're already seeing the damage being done to companies by really badly installed stuff because the customer isn't the target, and this was put rather plainly once. It's the investor is the target. So, sell the investor on it, give away sensors so you can say you have a volume out there. It's kind of like the fact that there's not a single AI company, OpenAI or anybody else, that's investing, hundreds of billions of dollars into all of this stuff, all of these data centers and everything else, but not a single one has seen a return on investment, and probably will not. So, what is the real goal here? Well, in the end, we've forgotten the basics because the marketing guys tell us we don't need the basics, we just need their AI. This means that those of us who are still in the industry that have that background and knowledge of what's going on and how to do it. And when I watch some of these companies with they hire big names that are big marketing names out there, there is no substance, there is no background, there is no knowledge. They're repeating stuff that the rest of us have published. Hell, I've watched some of them market that they're the inventors of stuff that I have specifically published papers on or books. And I know others in the industry that are experience that same thing. Just be ready. Be ready. Those of us who are still in, I got in very young. I'm not young anymore. There's a lot of others out there, and the handful that are coming into the industry that are learning the background, they're either going to be commanding massive prices and salaries, or the new superstars will be the ones who can keep your business running, because the crap that is being pushed out there right now certainly will not. They don't replace the bearings. They don't troubleshoot the problems. Most of the time right now, I mean, we've had some really good years recently as consultants and troubleshooters and RCFA specialists, primarily because when we go in and we're looking at the disasters that have occurred repetitively, these AIs don't fix that, nor will they, regardless. I mean, heck, just going back to the one that blew my mind last year, when I get this call from, a recent graduate with an MBA who said he'd secured $20-odd million, and the investment company that he secured the money, he didn't even have an idea, suggested he looked at the reliability and maintenance industry, and he calls me up and he says, I need 15 minutes of your time to describe all of the problems in the reliability and maintenance arena, because I have 20-some million dollars to invest in solving it with an AI. My response was really simple. I can give you my response in less than 30 seconds. I said, you develop an AI to get the AI out of reliability and maintenance and get back to, turning the wrench and everything else. Sure, some of the information is good. But the minute I heard, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the term, it was part of the whole digital transformation concept, right? The minute I heard, if you're no longer a widget company, you're a digital company, meaning that an automotive company is no longer an automotive company. You don't sell widgets, you sell data. It's like, oh God, we're in for trouble. So, we are a consulting firm. Motor.doc AI is programming, and we do machine learning and AI and all that other crap. We do it. Why not? I mean, we use it for information. We use it to develop insights. But none of it is done without a subject matter expert being involved. Meaning this, usually the subject matter expert's doing the work, because I'll tell you what, it sure is easy to do the programming, folks. It is not easy to have the knowledge. So all the people that are scrambling out there to get their, what is it? The weekly calls I get from investors trying to invest in the company or trying to buy us out. It's all the same thing. Early exit. We will get you an early exit. I said, it's too late. I've been in the business 40 years. There's no early anything. And I'm getting called by people like, just, okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. There's too many nuances, and there's a level of knowledge necessary in experienced technicians that you cannot replicate with a decision tree, which is what AI is. Okay, bonk, 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 bonk. They're good guides and good guidelines. They help. I use ChatGPT or variations of it every single day. I have no issue with it. I have an issue with some of the things they're doing now because they realize there's nothing there in the technical side, so now they have to spread it out to the side that's, questionable. But what do you do? So I got to finish this one with a joke. I've gone on my rant. I'm just beyond disappointed in what's happened to the industry. I've walked away from almost every commercial conference. Tried getting involved, sunk a lot of money into it, realized why people are charging what they're charging, meaning for their technologies. We will not be doing that. I basically told the people that I brought on board, we will not be involved. We will speak at conferences, sure. But I have to be invited. I'm not aggressively approaching anybody. We will be spending our time at the conferences that matter, the ones where decisions are made and they're technical. Well, they're common sense and they're, I don't want to say technical in whatever, but there's some. Now, don't get me wrong. Because of conflicts, there's some that I want to go to that I can't. We're going to try one or two this upcoming year from a speaking perspective, but I am not putting 20, 30 grand into a booth again for attendance of about 100 people. And I think most of the ones that I've seen this year where we've attended, they claim so many people there, but you literally don't see it. I know how to count. A boardroom meeting where executives explain how profit grows when sensors replace people. Can we predict failures? Not yet, but our investors deck predicts 20 million ARR. Garbage in, investor cash out. Our AI can detect bearing faults, shaft misalignment, and your gullibility level, all in real time. And with that, thank you for putting up with this. I'm expecting I'll probably get like 2 or 3 viewers. If you're following, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow us, follow our page if you're not. This went on for nearly an hour of me bitching. Tried to throw in a couple of jokes there. I wanted this to be a sarcastic, kind of funny thing, but I guess I've spent too long worried about the end user and customers, and they don't really seem to want to embrace real condition-based maintenance. Just follow whatever the hype is. So at some point, if it continues down that path and there's nobody out there that really gives a shit about their companies, then it's time to shut the doors. But right now, luckily, we have our customers who do, and I'm with that. I'm just going to put in one little bit. We have a number of smaller company customers, but let's just say our customers tend to be the customers that all of these other guys want to be in, which is why they call and harass us and cause problems. So we don't list our customers on LinkedIn or on our website for a reason. We don't want them harassed by air, by nothing, by fluff that wants a lot of money for zero return. And with that, I'm signing off.